Teams, therefore, in organisations have particular dynamics, and the way teams behave within a school or an educational setting has potentially very positive impacts, but also there can be barriers to reflective practice caused by the team. And probably the biggest factor for the reflective practitioner to overcome is the idea of groupthink. This is where the individual members of the group are so strongly cohesive and so focused on the task and the social identity of the group that individuals will not question the activities of the group and not question to what extent they're achieving the objectives, in favour of just maintaining the group identity. And this can actually lead to a number of factors which are barriers to reflection. The barriers actually prevent the reflective practitioner undertaking any sort of reflection, because it would challenge the group to an extent that it couldn't cope with, and this would be very uncomfortable for the individual group members. There could be, for example, negative feedback to the reflective practitioner, and also a very unquestioning nature in terms of the roles that they're taking on and the teaching that they're engaging with. And of course we know that reflective practice requires a very questioning approach to teaching. And what groupthink creates is a very strong stereotype within the group. The individual members of the group become so strongly cohesive that in a sense there's no single identity anymore, and another person, a reflective practitioner, trying to introduce some sort of questioning or reflection of the process becomes an enemy to the group potentially, and this can block effective reflection. And the upshot of this is that it's very difficult to break the ideas and the illusions that the group has about the work that they're doing and the goals that they're trying to achieve. So the symptoms of groupthink are that people are very careful and conscious of who they're talking to and the way they're interacting with one another. And this actually breaks down open communication, which can block the process of reflection for the reflective practitioner. And in a sense, people can become so protective of the group identity that certain pieces of information become withheld from the reflective practitioner simply because it would challenge the identity of the group too much. And the impact of this on the behaviour in the school can be quite significant. The idea of groupthink, this barrier to reflection within teams, leads people to think in very unique ways, and also in a sort of divided way from the school identity. How specialised the roles and functions are and how they're coordinated within the group is something which can impact on the effectiveness of the school. And how information flows between members of the group is another impacting factor on the behaviour of the team within the school. How the system of controls, the measures and the checks and balances for what people are doing and how they're working within the school is another behavioural impact of this group dynamic. And each school with its structures can be affected to a very great extent by this behaviour because the group can affect other peer groups and other individuals very significantly through the pressure that they can exert within the school and entire school structure. Group norms and the social identity of individual members gets affected and can be put at risk by such dynamics in a group. So the reflective practitioner then needs to be somebody who works within organisational structures and simultaneously reflects on those structures and how people are working within those structures, how teams are working within those structures. And so the reflective practitioner not only needs to reflect on good practice, but also needs to reflect on the level of dysfunction that teams are exhibiting.